Welcome to the Business Buyer Diaries. My name is Nathan Platter. I'm a full-time employee, and I bought a business. I did everything right, from finding the deal, handling all the due diligence on 63 opportunities, and ultimately bought a profitable gym. And boy, was I in for a big surprise as a new owner. I chronicled everything in real time, including the biggest wins to the stressful nights at 2 a.m. I'm sharing my journey without sugarcoating anything, so you don't make the same mistakes that I did. Here's today's episode. Happy Friday! All right, so as pressure builds up and things look uncertain, I'm figuring out how I react to difficulties and how I plan for adversity. There goes a car. And so it's tough just putting money in. And folks think like, oh, business owner, like everything's so easy. And then all of a sudden, like you put money in and then it just goes out the window. And end of the month is always kind of crazy. So the last 2 or 3 days of the month, we have a surge of revenue. Or 30% of all of our revenue comes in the final 4 days of the month. And it just comes spewing in because we've had historical challenges. And that's the auto enrollment that we have after the challenge. And so that's just how it happens to be a larger influx, because that's when people signed up. And so there's also the SBA payment, the commercial rent payment, and paying off the credit card that all comes at once. And so it's just tough because it's a big surge of revenue, big surge of expenses. And so it's a big up and down, and it's hard to handle that pretty smoothly. But anyhow, I got my day job bonus, and I've been battling some envy. So one of my coworkers is getting a new Lexus. I don't know if it's a super fancy one or what, but he's getting a Lexus. Someone else is renovating their home in San Francisco. Someone else is getting a couple project cars out in Washington where he lives. And so I'm seeing the fun things that people get to spend their money on, their bonus on. And that's going to be 2 months of keeping the gym open. Part of me wants to just call it quits, put the money in for myself, and do something on my own. So, it's a bit of something I've been battling, some envy that people get to enjoy their bonus, and I'm putting my bonus into being responsible. And I'm putting into something that I've committed to that I'm going to stick with for now. But something that a fun trivia thing I did years ago, I found out about a spot where I can buy basically returned merchandise from a retailer. And when you buy, and so I bought 10 flat screen TVs, 65-inch full size flat screen plasma TVs. I bought 10 of them for I don't remember, $7,000 or something. And at the time, the value of all of them together was probably $18,000. And so people buy them, they're it doesn't fit quite in my living room. And then they return them to Best Buy or Target. And then those stores now sell them at a massive discount, 70%, half of retail value. So I bought them for $7,000. I probably made $8,000 in total on it. But it was just an experiment. And so after this bonus, realizing, okay, well, what can I do? And I haven't done it in years. I just did it, and it was just a lot of hustle to try to sell them, and it was more than what I wanted to keep doing. So got the influx of cash for the bonus. I want to put it towards the business and being responsible. And so what else can I do? What can I do that's similar? And I had the random memory of oh yeah, I remember when I flipped flat screen TVs. So I looked on the site, and I found basically a lot of, and I don't mean a bunch, I mean an actual couple pallets of a pallet of MacBooks that either a business or a school had sold, and they were just liquidating them out. They're selling them as a bundle. And so I'm all right, let's do this. So put a chunk, I don't know, 20% of my bonus towards a lot, and bought 18 used MacBook Pros. And my goal is that these are in really good shape. They're refurbished, they're running, they're operating. Someone just wanted to get rid of them. They don't want to maximize revenue. So I bought the lot, and they arrived at my house. And in the past couple nights, my wife and I have been taking these laptops, turning them on, powering them up, buying charging cords for each laptop, cleaning them up, scrubbing them down, making sure they're completely wiped and good to go, and then updating their platform so that they're bug-free, they're updated, they're recent. Some of these are not like super new, but trying to just do some hustle muscle and flip these with the hope of making $100, maybe $200 profit per laptop to generate. I'm aiming for $100 a laptop. That's my goal. And so $2,000 for, I don't know, we worked together 3 hours together, so 6 hours of work. We'll say an hour of due diligence, probably 2 hours because some stuff I did not buy. This was one I did. So it's 2 hours, 8 hours, 8 hours of work. And then listing them, that'll be another 4 hours, 12 hours of work selling them. Or like packaging and shipping, that'll be another 3 hours of work. So 15 hours. I don't know. Just napkin math. $2,000 for 15 hours of work. And and this whole time I don't have a business entity set up. So this is all paying the taxes on the purchase, paying taxes on the sale, paying a lot of expenses and fees that I could be writing off. And so as a consumer doing this, making like $100 an hour is what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm targeting. And then if everything looks good, by doing the exact same everything, but having more write-offs along the way, maybe like $120 a laptop. So like 2,000, maybe 2,200 in revenue or profit per laptop. But just trying to be creative. I know I'm taking forever to get to the point, but being creative on how to find value that's not being done. And something that I've like reverted back to, just my style, is I like to go bargain hunting. Kind of the stuff you see on like American Pickers or like garage sale flipping, but finding stuff that's overlooked and neglected, stuff that can be bought at a bulk price and then sold as individual pieces, but stuff where I'm basically a merchant or a retailer. It's just what I stumble into. That's not good or bad, but if I'm going to make this worth my while, I'm going to have to do a lot more than just this. If the studio is losing $8,000 a month, I basically have to buy, thousands and thousands of dollars, like many thousands of dollars worth of laptops a month, and be flipping them. And I've been going slow. I haven't been working on this every single night. I probably could have gotten this all done in 2 days if I had really focused on it. But it's more of a test run to see if the products are good, if my process is tight, if this is a repeatable thing. Something I'm noticing just with this experiment with the TVs, people don't care about them. They kind of care about the brand, but they more care about the viewing experience and the size. So with the TV, it's a pretty basic measurement. How big is the TV? Is the color good? And that's about it. Laptops are a lot more picky. People care about like processor speed, memory speed, the year of production. For MacBooks, if you have a 10-year-old MacBook, they only can update to a certain software level. You can't get the latest iOS system with a brand new MacBook. You're probably good for another 2 or 3 software stages. So having like an old MacBook, you're gonna get capped on your latest and greatest platform. So just little things like that. Laptops are more finicky, more picky by the buyer, and the aesthetic is really gonna matter. If a TV has a dent on it, people don't care. If a laptop has a dent on it, people care a lot more. So just learning about the product industry. I know my process and I know my margins. And so I know my process, I know my margins, I know how to list, I know how to deal hunt. I don't know if my product category is any good, but I'll stop there about the details of it. Just learning how I operate under pressure, how to revert back, and how do I figure out how to get unstuck on something. And I double down. Like somebody told me recently that I'm a gambler, like a strategic gambler in this arena. They're kind of right. Like nobody pulls out their American Express card and buys 18 used laptops with the gusto and confidence that they're going to make money on it. I may be right, I may be wrong, but I'm at least pulling out my credit card to give it a shot. And with the business and the studio, you could make the argument that, like, well, I can make as much money if I was cold calling leads for scheduling appointments, if I was doing in-person sales. Potentially, I don't think it would be as profitable use of my time. And so it sounds bad, but I think my time is more valuable flipping physical products. I don't know. We're giving it a run, but not giving up, trying to figure out how to do it. I met with my GM today, and we're in a good spot. Basically, we figured out, there's a big smart little stay over here. There we go. We figured out what a departure looks like. So this coming week, on Monday, we have our team meeting. He's basically going to be announcing that he's wrapping up his time as the GM. And then on Saturday, he's going to do a departure post to the members only page. And then we'll figure, and then I'm not going to disclose like how he and I are doing like the golden parachute wrap up thing. That's his info. That's confidential. But I want to make sure he lands on his feet well and can find a job that pays him fairly and that he's able to leave on good terms and get paid well for it. And so all that to say, I think I'm optimistic there's going to be some glimmer of hope feels, because right now instructor engagement is low. I think instructor morale is a little bit low. Out of my 13 or 14 instructors, only like 3 are actively engaging on our instructor page. So I think people are just going through the motions right now, which is disheartening. And so I think acknowledging, yep, this person's wrapping up. Don't know who the future is, but here's how I'm finding my next permanent hire. I think will be a sigh of relief for a lot of people. And sounds bad. I still think it's a heartless thing to say, but it's a classic hire slow, fire fast. And when I hired my GM, I didn't have any other options, but I had to find someone instantly. There was no one in the wings, no one who was getting trained up to be that future leader. And so it was either like me or nobody, and I couldn't afford to do it. It would cost too much to be the GM of the studio. So for better or worse, he was the best pick. And I knew probably within 3 weeks, there was 2 weeks, there's a heck of a lot of friction from members, from instructors, just a lot of friction, just not going very well. And I probably should have done like a 30-day pivot away faster for his sake and for the studio's sake, which sounds so heartless, but I think that would have dodged a lot of attrition, a lot of frustrations from people. And so part of that is I need to have backups and plan Bs earlier on, because if I'm left holding the bag, then I'm basically hiring whatever's left, and that's an awful spot to be in. So that's where that is at. Management team finds out Monday. Members find out Saturday. He'll do his 2 weeks notice at that point, is what he's mapping out at least. And then I have 1 or 2 people in mind for taking over lead, but we'll figure it out from there. I don't have a full plan. I talked to the banker today, basically vented to him about the state of the business. He was not very helpful. So I'm not quite sure what I can do for the business other than keep putting $10,000, $12,000 a month into it and hope that something magically turns around. I don't know what to do. I really don't. And so how long do I just keep doing that, waiting for a miracle, versus just seeing the writing on the wall and calling it quits? I don't know the answer. But that's why I do these out loud. Help me think. So when there's pressure, how do I react? How do I find value in the marketplace? What other side gigs can I do other than finding a traditional W-2 role, because there's usually not going to have the income potential needed? And that's what the next couple steps looks like with the current GM wrapping things up. So he's feeling good about it. I think there's partially a sigh of relief. But I don't know. Well, as long as he's leaving on his terms in a way that he feels good about his time concluding, then we're in an okay spot. That's where we're at. That's where we're going. It's rock and roll. This has been another episode of the Business Buyer Diaries. Subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. I hope you're realizing that business ownership is no cakewalk. Check the podcast notes for a link to the DIY due diligence program, the complete list of show sponsors, and for media inquiries. Music written and composed by Wes Schrock. I'm your host, Nathan Platter. Join me again on the next one.